How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to my poker channel. My name is Andreas, and in today's video I'm going to show you the win of Phil Galfond versus Venividi, how close it really was and how some of those spots play out a little bit differently strategically. Let's head right into it. As I mentioned in my last video, this spot here is quite tricky at this point because we're 24,886 hands in. Venividi doesn't need to win a big pot. He only needs to win about 4,000 euros to go from plus 13,000 euros to plus 17,000 euros. And after that, he could just win by folding all the rest of the hands, roughly. And so this spot here is quite different because his 3-betting range will be differently constructed. He doesn't 3-bet, 18% of the time or something like that. He 3-bets a lot less because he's looking to play some medium-sized pots. Whereas Phil, he wants to play 4-bet pots sometimes with a lot of hands or a lot more hands than usual because he wants to go for stacks sometimes, especially when he sees a good chance. He has to gamble here. Phil c-bets on the flop ace-3-5 rainbow, single raise pot in position for half pot, and now follows up on the turn with another half pot as bet. And I think, the sizings here are also very, very interesting because I think that he might have sized it in a way here that even if he was bluffing, that he might have not lost so much that Venividi would automatically win the challenge if he lost the hand. But on the right, at the same time, you can see there's also pot brewing with 2,800 euros in the middle. And if Venividi wins both these pots, he's going to add on 4,000 euros and he might be one or two hands or like just a little bit shy of that threshold that he needs to win at. And I think that is a crucial element. And then Phil pots the river, and he actually does have value on the left with a deuce 4 straight. But I was very certain watching this match that if Phil had a bluff here, even if the blockers were extremely awful, he would have followed through and pot size bet bluffed here all day long because of maybe not making it possible for him anymore to win this match if he actually loses the hands on both tables. So for Venividi's, or from Venividi's perspective here, he has to ask himself, well, if he's losing the hand on the right with a high likelihood, then he's gonna be, or if he's winning it, then he might have a chance here to win. So if he thinks that Phil is weak on the right, then he has to be certain that Phil's bluffing more often on the left, and he has to be calling a lot more here in this spot, basically to close out the match. Like he had a huge chance here to win the match right there, but Phil had value, and we move on to the next situation. 30 hands later, there's just about 76, 77 hands to be played yet, and somebody then needs to only win 11,250 euros or being at that profit mark. Now Phil is in the lead with 1,580, so he only needs to win about 10k in this hand to be closing out the match and then fold for the rest of the entire match to be winning this. He raises on the button, he pot size c-bets, creating a lot of leverage on a check 9-4 with 2 diamonds, getting to the turn. And you already can see that, by building the pot this way, he can win this 10k pot right here if he, bets at least something like half pot on the turn. Chooses now this half pot bet size, leaving himself the option to bet 7,200 or up to 7,200 on the river and potentially closing out this match. Venividi also continues. So the 10 hits the river. Looks like almost an innocent card for the most part, as it only completes a couple of straights, and these would definitely get checked at this point. Phil goes into the tank. And again, a lot more strategic thoughts that you might want to have at this pot. Chooses the pot size option, basically saying like if he has it here, he is going to win. As already we know, of course, that Phil is winning, he is going to have value here. And Veni in a really tough situation, because if he folds, he can still win if he plays the future hands after this one. I mean, Phil will be winning plus 3,600, and then, Veni could still play other spots. So he could pass on this bluff catching opportunity. Like if he thinks that his bluff catcher is not that great, he could definitely fold, and then, Phil would be up 36 plus 1,8, so 5,400. So Veni could then still play, for example, a 4-bet pot or just a large pot in general if Phil allows him to do so in future hands. So, there's always a question like, do you want to call now? We have a lot of incentives to not be calling in these situations, but we don't obviously know what Veni had exactly here, at least not, we don't see it in this video. We might have heard it But Phil, as you can see also how close it was, Phil actually rivered the boat with his tens and made it possible for him to value. But he also, of course, had the 2 straight flush draw outs here as well. So, you know, those 4 outs might then decide between a winner and a loser here in this match. It was so damn close. That is, I don't think we're ever going to see this close of a match ever again. You know, just to get to 24,925 hands and then be this close and then somebody winning it in almost overtime. This is absolutely insane, and I would have never thought it could happen after Phil was down almost €1,000,000. I would have bet, you know, quite a bit on Phil not winning at this point, but he still proved us all wrong and came back after this 50 bind downer and eventually just won by, I think, €1,600, then now folding after this hand to the winner. Now I would want to hear from you. Did you watch the challenge and did you see how close it was in some of these situations? What you thought about the most interesting spots? Maybe you have a timestamp to the video with all the hands, and you let me know in the comment section below what you thought were some other key spots in this match, and if you liked my choice of the 2 hands that I picked, of course the winning hand and the other big pot where things could have gone either way. Also let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video and what you thought about it. Drop the thumbs up if you liked it, and then also subscribe to the channel if you're just new here and want to see more videos from me in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you for the next video.